So in Iran, the current president Rouhani is his time is up. There's an election in June. He's done his maximum amount of time as president, and there is going to be a new president elected in June, right? And also, the aging supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei, he's gonna, there's a lot of people who are anticipating he's gonna die soon. They're already thinking about his successorship, and we're gonna get into that. But the way that things are happening this time is that the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, is beginning to have a much more important role. In fact, almost a dominant role, which was against the whole vision of the Islamic Republic that Khomeini had at the time of the revolution. So anyway, I'm not going to go into this. Is something that Armin's going to talk about. There's a lot of chatter about this. There's a lot of apparently people are talking about this, is concerned about it. It's almost an open secret, but it's not being reported anywhere in the media. So Armin, what's going on, and why aren't we seeing stories about it?
Well, I don't know why you're not. Well, I am seeing a lot of stories about it
in English.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not. I don't know why there's not much stories in English, but this is right now a major thing in Persian news media. There is a shift happening, a major shift happening, and everybody knows about it. From at least from the Iranian media side, and it seems like every time I watch, Western YouTubers or media talk about it, there seems to be a lot of the important points missing, or it just seems like people don't really care much anymore. So I don't know where to start, because I have a lot of points to bring up. So maybe we should start with the basics.
I'll say the only thing that I read about it that was close to the stuff that you told me about earlier, we talked about this offline, is this thing on Middle East Forum. This guy, Ali Al-Fawne, who's a senior fellow at the Arab Gulf States Institute. And the title of the article is that Ali Al-Fawne says that the IRGC will dictate the choice of Iran's next supreme leader. So, that was kind of interesting. But again, a very, very
that doesn't even
led forum or anything, very general.
Right. So let's actually start with the basics. I think a lot of our audience already know this. Rouhani is the president. Khamenei is the supreme leader. Rouhani is supposed to be representing the reformists, but not quite so. The reformist main leader used to be Khatami. And now we had. So the way people traditionally thought about this is that you had on one side the hardliners, which is supposed to be Khamenei as the supreme religious leader of the country, and people assumed Ahmadinejad is on that side, and the IRGC, which is the more idealistic side of the armed forces in Iran, and all of that considered to be the hardliners, and that's on one side. And then you assumed that you had the reformists, which is Khatami, Rouhani, which is the president, and his cabinet to be on the other side, right? However, that's not the way things were viewed from inside Iran, and now that's not how things are. Even pragmatically, that's not how things are anymore again as well, right? So it's interesting because a couple of months before this elections, the main person that was being a headache to the hardliners was Ahmadinejad. He was becoming enemy number one in the country, which is like against Khamenei. And he's now coming out and saying that he expects to be executed, to be assassinated soon. That's what he's saying. So the person that was supposed to be the chosen president before Rouhani as the hardliners president is now one of the people that is causing the regime the most amount of headache, right? So for way before this election, when we saw in the protest, many protests that we saw, earlier in 2019 and also in 2020, people have given up on reformists. Reformists are hated almost by everyone, right? But by a lot of the people and also by the hardliners. In the eyes of many of the protesters, the reformers are just a false hope that are put to place by the hardliners just to get people come out and vote. Because a higher number of votes, a higher percentage of votes gives legitimacy to the Islamic Republic of Iran as a legitimate democracy around the world, as a government that is a representative of its people. So the idea of, among many of the people who are against the regime from inside Iran is that the reformists can't do anything. They have absolutely no power, and the office, the presidency as a whole is a joke position that has nothing to do with anything, and all the orders come from the top, which is the supreme leader Khamenei, and that's the whole. The reformists are just dangled in front of the people every time there's an election, just so that you have this fake democracy, as a way to show to the world that this government represents the people. So you need to listen to this government, because in the way that international politics works, a lot of times when a foreign government want to dismiss you as somebody that they need to work with, they're like, well, you don't represent your people anyways. So if you want, like, for example, if you're a country like United States and you want to tell your people why you're being aggressive against the government, you're like, and not against the people, you're like, well, these people don't represent their people, and this government doesn't represent their people anyway. So it gives you international legitimacy, and the number of people that actually come out in election was a number that was very important to the governments, to the Islamic Republic for a long time. However, what is being suggested is that in recent, given what happened in the elections during the parliament in Iran, given the lack of show and the constant suggestion that less and less people are going to come and participate in elections, it seems like this idea of acting like a democracy, they're like maybe that's not that important, right? Given that that's signaling that is not doing what it's supposed to do anyways, both internally and externally, we might as well take over, right? Like both in practice but now also officially, right? So like, let me give you some examples, right? So the understanding is that, for example, in the previous elections, when Ahmadinejad became the president, he became the president not because people voted for him. He was elected president because he was selected by Mujtaba Khamenei. Mujtaba Khamenei's first pick was Ghalibaf, but then they had some. Mujtaba Khamenei is Ali Khamenei's son. And the understanding right now is that he is the one that Khamenei wants to make the next supreme leader, which would be amazing, because that would mean that the supreme leader position is going to go back to how it was during the monarchy, meaning that it's going to become heredity, like based on what from one generation to another, which is amazing, because that was one of the main things Khomeini was against, right? The fact that the way the leaders are picked, right? And Mujtaba Khomeini was the person that selected Ahmadinejad initially to become president, right? And the understanding is that the elections really don't matter. What Mujtaba Khomeini picks matters. And this is so. This whole idea of picking Mujtaba Khomeini as the next supreme leader, if they're successful at it, goes against what Khomeini was preaching when he toppled the Shah, the monarchy, back in 1979.
Hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, and most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.